Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to welcome everyone today and kick things off with what is another webinar in a series of webinars that we look to have every 2 or 3 weeks, where we get in and showcase at an entry level what Oracle NetSuite is all about. What we're hoping is that if you have others in your organization that you think would benefit from a session like this, or maybe even somebody within your personal network, be on the lookout for other invites that we will be posting on LinkedIn and our website. To keep a pulse on our time today, I want to make sure that we keep this at 25 minutes, then save time at the end to discuss next steps. To start, my name is Lauren. I'm an account executive here at DSWi. Who is DSWi? We're a consulting-based ERP firm that is a NetSuite authorized partner. We work with businesses from the initial sales cycle throughout the end-to-end implementation process and post-go-live support. Also wanted to take this time to introduce my colleague at DSWi, Mohammed. He's the solution consultant who will be demoing for us this morning. Taking a look at today's agenda, we're first going to walk through who NetSuite is, why NetSuite is a solution like no other. We will then head into the NetSuite instance to see that in action for a better sense of the look and feel of the product. After that, Mohammed will summarize what was shown, and I'll wrap things up with noting any questions that we received throughout the webinar. So to start things off, I'll first cover some background information on NetSuite. Going back about 20 years, NetSuite was the first cloud company, which is definitely no small claim. From the very beginning, NetSuite was recognized the need for businesses to take their operations to the cloud for further flexibility and scalability. This is why NetSuite is able to support more than 19,000 customers worldwide today and have more than 4,500 new businesses that have signed on just within the last 12 months alone. I also wanted to highlight NetSuite being a trusted partner to public companies. Over a third of the IPOs just last year were running on our platform, and that's definitely no small feat. Across the 19,000 plus customers that trust NetSuite, these are just a few examples of businesses across various industries and various sizes that NetSuite supports, all the way from software, service companies to manufacturers and retailers of all shapes and sizes. Now, what we've consistently seen with our clients as businesses continue to scale are these 3 key areas. Especially during these unprecedented times, visibility comes up often. Trying to get that deeper understanding of what goes on within the business, yet trying to maintain their velocity as the environment of the playing field changes. Business leaders are realizing that they need a solution that is agile to help them be able to adapt quickly to changes in demand. With that being said, I'm going to hand things over to Mohammed, let him get into his NetSuite instance and take a look at the solution in action. As a reminder, if you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to enter them into the Q&A box below for us to review after the webinar.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mohammed Ali Khan. I'm a consultant here at DSWi, and today we'll be going over a high-level demo of NetSuite navigation and getting a look at some of the functionality. As we dive into the NetSuite instance, one of the things you'll notice in the top left-hand corner is the padlock symbol. What this means is your NetSuite connection is highly encrypted and actually uses the same encryption as top-level financial institutions, essentially giving you peace of mind and not having to worry about the maintenance and cost of security, as this is all done on the NetSuite side. As we shift our attention to the right, you'll see that we're logged in as Ruby Soriano, who is a controller. NetSuite is a role-based system, so out of the box, you have role centers and permissions tailored to each role. So someone in sales will see different relevant information compared to someone in accounting. Of course, these role centers can be configured to how you want it to work. Let's say you're at a company where you might have to wear multiple hats. It can be adjusted to how you see fit. On the dashboard here, you'll see a lot of different portlet, but for today's demonstration, we'll only be going over a few of them. What I'd like to focus our attention to is a reminders portlet, which is basically your virtual to-do list. For instance, when you log into NetSuite first thing in the morning, you'll see your action items, such as bills to approve, periods to close, authorizations, and invoices. Know that you can attach other reminders here if you want. All the reminders are based on safe searches, which are queries which you can then attach to the portlet. You also have tiles here that you can, for easy access to key reports such as balance sheet, cash flow, income statements, and your trial balance, as well as you can use the favorites to add more key reports or processes for easy access. Moving on to our KPI indicators portlet, you'll see that we have access to a lot of KPI metrics here, such as payables and expense metrics. Know that you're not limited to these. Out of the box, you have a wide range of different indicators that can be added. You also have your comparing periods, today versus same day last month, this period, last period, this month, last month, today versus yesterday, as well as your current and previous values, as well as the percent change from your previous to current values. Also note that all of these values are hyperlinked, so you can drill down into them to go into an underlying report. We'll be doing that, but before we do that, what I'd like to show is the personalization of the dashboard, where you can add or remove additional portlets and rearrange it to customize it to your liking. Now, when I click personalize here, you'll see that I have access to different portlets, such as a calendar, where I can access calls, events, and other date-based tasks, as well as creating a custom portlet, a custom search, and a KPI meter. For today's demonstration, what we're going to do is create a KPI meter. So if I hit this KPI meter here, what it'll do is give us a visual look at our payables. But if I also go to the drop down, I have access to other metrics that I can easily get a visual look at. Now, everything in NetSuite on your dashboard is drag and drop. So if I wanted to move this KPI meter below this reminders portlet, I can do that. Or if I want to have this KPI meter front and center, I can also do that. Now, we saw how this was so easy to add. We can just as easily remove it. If I hit the 3-dot symbol here and click remove, we have our dashboard to how we originally had it. Now, going back to this KPI indicator here, as I mentioned earlier, NetSuite is a role-based system where that can be adjusted. You see that we have new leads here, which isn't something that a controller is usually interested in. But for the purpose of today's demonstration, I wanted to show NetSuite's built-in marketing tools. So right here, I have a lead form that I previously generated. And let's say you have this on your website, or if you have this at a trade show, you can easily submit this data and it'll go back into your system. So hitting the submit form, what this does is redirect you to our website. Now, if I go back to my KPI indicator, and you'll see that this is at 2. If I hit refresh, you see that it updates instantly. NetSuite's data is all live, so whatever's going on in your system, you get a live look at that as you're working in the system. As mentioned earlier, these values, you can drill down into them to go into underlying report. So what I'm going to be doing is clicking on our current sales value of 649,000. What this does is open up our sales by customer summary. Know that this is a high-level report. You can view more details about this by simply clicking view details. What I want to point out though is at the bottom, we can rearrange this report by different time ranges, such as by days, weeks, months, quarters, years, fiscal halves, fiscal quarters, as well as setting your own from and to range. And you'll notice that you can also segment your columns here. Currently, it's segmented by totals. If you want to view this by class, department, location, or subsidiary, you can do that. What we'll be doing is looking at this broken down by location segmentation. So hitting location and hitting refresh. What this does is break down that same report by location. Now, if this report is something that's monitored on a recurring basis, NetSuite does have a schedule report feature where you can schedule a report to go out on a recurring basis to a specific person or a specific group. You also have the ability to export reports with Excel, PDF, CSV, and Word. Currently, this report is broken down by location. What we're going to do is actually further customize this report. So if I hit customize, and I want to view this not only by location, but by state as well. And I can drag this all the way to the left. Let's look at the preview. Now, this same report is not only broken down by our location, we also have it set by states. So if you'll notice here, Smith Supplies has a California location as well as a New York location. Know that these values, you can also drill down into them as well. So if I want to see what makes up this $94,000 value, I can do that just by clicking on it. And if I want to further drill down into this and see this source invoice of $56,000, I can do that as well. What this does is bring us into our source invoice where we can access our original sales order as well as access any other relevant information for this invoice. You can also go into your customer card, but what we're going to do is go into this Smith Supplies customer card, but the way I want to show that is by using NetSuite's global search feature, which is basically the Google of NetSuite. So if I were to go into our search bar here and type in 111, what this does is show us all relevant information with the number 111. So we have sales order, purchase orders, payments, all with the number 111. Just as we use this with numbers, we can use it with words as well. So if I type in Smith, what this does is open up all information with the word Smith. So we have our customer Smith Supplies, an employee Alex Smith, and a contact John Smith. Now we're going to go into our customer Smith Supplies. Now looking at our customer card, what NetSuite actually calls this is Customer 360 because you have access to all relevant customer information in one location. One thing I want to point out is our sales rep and lead source. Now you notice how we had the online lead form. Let's say that was at a trade show, it would easily populate back into your customer and you would have your lead source here as well as the sales rep that's assigned to that lead source. You can assign your sales rep not only to lead source, but as well as location territories. Now at the bottom here, you'll notice there are a lot of different tabs, but for today's demonstration, what we'll be going over is our communication, sales, financial, and system information. Currently, we're on our communications tab, and here you can access all relevant communication that's been had with your customer. So for instance, if James Smith here were to go on leave, you can easily pick up where he left off with that follow-up call. And if he left any notes, if you were to drill down into this, you can access those notes. Going to our messages here, you see all messages that were sent to your customer, such as order fulfillments, invoices, and quote requests. You also have the ability to attach any files. We have a PDF here, which is the customer's logo. Going to our sales tab, what you have here is access to all your historical transactions, such as payments, item fulfillments, invoices. If you want to filter this to a specific group that you want to see, such as cash refunds or cash sales, you can do that. In our financials tab here, you'll see that there's a lot of information we can access, such as terms. We have a term limit of net 15. If you want to adjust this to 30, 40, 50, however you want, it can be adjusted from here, as well as adjusting your credit limit. You also have the ability to view your current balance you have with this customer. Also attaching credit cards for ease of transaction between you and your customer. Going to our system information here, what you see here is a virtual audit trail that NetSuite keeps track of. So you can see any adjustments that were made in your system. So here we have Ruby Soriano, who made some adjustments. He made a few changes. You can see the fields that he changed, as well as the old and new values. So for instance, if someone made a change in your system and you want to see what was changed, or you want to revert back to your original value, you can do that easily with the virtual audit trail. Now, a few of the things that we went over today was we looked at the dashboard and some of the functionality there. We looked at the reporting tools and the ability to drill down into reports. We saw NetSuite's global search feature, and then we got to look at the customer card and some of the relevant topics there. Now, this was a very basic demo. NetSuite is such a robust and flexible system with a lot of great features that we can't cover in just one sitting. What we've shown is a high-level demo with some of the features we thought would be relevant to you. Now with that, I'll pass it to Lauren.
Thank you, Mohammed. In terms of what next steps look like with DSWi, obviously today's demo was more of an overview. We really had an entry-level demonstration of the power of NetSuite. But if this is the first time that you've seen the product, then typically next steps is for us to schedule a meeting with my team, discuss your business's requirements and goals. Then we follow up with a personalized demo to handle some of those key things specific to your business, whether that be your top 5 challenges or even your top 5 needs. The last step would be honing in on those requirements, making sure that we have a good understanding of what would be required for phase 1 implementation so that we can provide you with an accurate estimate along with the appropriate software package. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their morning to attend this webinar. My contact info is going to be at the bottom of the next slide, and I look forward to connecting with everybody very soon. Thank you.